Hi, in this video we're going to learn about if statements and how we can use conditions to execute some code and execute some other code. So what I have here is a simple program. Inside the main function we have a variable which we've called condition, and it's equal to 5 is greater than 2. Like we said in I think 2 videos ago, I'm not sure. This is a condition, and this evaluates to a boolean, and in this case 5 is greater than 2, so this is going to evaluate true. So we're using this condition variable in this if statement. So the way to create an if statement, simply writing if your condition, it doesn't always have to be a variable. So if this condition evaluates to true, then execute what comes into here. There are other ways, there are other like methods of creating if statements, but this is the most used and the one we're going to see in this video. So what we're doing here, if condition, so if this evaluates to true, which we said it does, then execute what comes between the curly braces, and what is executed is 5 is indeed greater than 2. Okay, what we can do also is have an else statement. So an else statement is pretty much what happens if this is false. So we said this happens if the condition is true, but what happens if the condition is false? So we write front.print line, and this condition is false. I probably misspelt that. And we change this to 5 is less than 2, which is obviously false. If I change to my terminal and do go run, I can't remember, 04, as you can see, this condition is false. Okay, so that's what the else statement does. You can also have an else if statement, and what this does is, like, instead of directly saying as this is false, just do this, you can check again for a specific condition. So if let's say, well, it wouldn't make sense to do it here because we're not checking for a variable, but here what you would write is another condition, and here you just do something. So what this does is it checks here, if this is true then do that, if it's not true check for this condition and do something, and if that's not true finally go to else. So that's the else if, so you can combine that rather than creating many if statements. Okay, so let's move on to something slightly more, well, I wouldn't say complicated, but more interesting. What we can do with if statements is create combinations of conditions. So the first combination we can do is using logical operator and that's denotated by a double ampersand, as you can see here. So our first condition is 6 greater than 3, and our second condition, which is on the other side of the and, is 5 greater than 8. So what the and basically checks for both conditions being true. So only if both conditions are true, then it's going to execute. So is 6 greater than 3? It is, so that's true. So let me just write it here, true, and here. And is 5 greater than 8? That's false. So this is not going to work because and operators, like I just said, need both to be true. So if I actually come back to our execution, as you can see from the previous run, it didn't work because true and false is not the same thing. And as you can see, here's where the else statement comes into action. The next logical operator we can use is OR, which is denoted by a double pipe sign. And this pretty much allows for, as long as one condition is true, it can run. So here what we're doing is 6 greater than 3, that's true. Is 5 greater than 8, that's false. However, with 1 being true, it's good to go. It's enough for the OR to run. As you can see, it worked. However, if both are false, and we run this again, it didn't work, because in OR we need at least 1 to be true. And one which I didn't write here, but it's also important, is the negation, which is the not operator. So what we can do if condition, let me just write this quickly, print line did something. So what we can do with the not operator, so let me just write not operator, and this is denoted by the exclamation mark. It reverses the Boolean value. So if we have true, if we do this, it reverses, so it changes that to false. And using the not word is easy to read. So if not, and let's say this is true, if not true, then do something if it's not true. So that's what I like about this, because it lets you kind of put the expression into words. Same with these OR and operators. So like I said, this just negates the value, it reverses the value. So if it's true, it'll turn it to false. If it's false, it'll turn it to true. That's pretty much it for if statements. So as you can see, they're very useful, especially when you want to control the flow of your program. In the next video, we're going to look at switch statements, which are kind of similar to if statements because they allow flow control, but they actually test the variable. So we'll check that out in the next video. Thanks for watching.